All right, we're going to have an uphill battle today, aren't we? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and I've gotten quite the challenge from an old friend of mine at the University of Maryland, and that is to brew around the Enigma Jewel. So, baseline abilities first. It enters the battlefield tapped and adds 2 colorless mana, but you can only spend it to activate abilities. And then you can craft it with 4 or more non-lands with activated abilities. That's very specific. So note that when you craft it, you exile this artifact and then the 4 or more other things from among permanents you control and cards in your graveyard. And if you do, you get to turn it into Locus of Enlightenment, which has the activated abilities of the exiled cards used to craft it. And you can activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it, and you can choose new targets for the copy. They've got an uphill battle here. When brewing around this card, I believe we have to focus on making the Enigma Jewel itself good, rather than trying to get Locus of Enlightenment. 9 mana is a lot by Legacy standards. 9 mana is you hard casting things that you would normally be reanimating or putting in off a show and tell or a natural order or something like that. So we probably should not expect to be able to craft this card, even if we plan around it. Now I'm going to build into it a little bit, and it'll make sense in a second how I'm doing that. But it's going to be tough. Something to keep in mind, though, is it's almost like crafting for 7 mana, as craft is an ability. So I believe we can pay 7 in addition to tapping the Enigma Jewel to itself. One thing that's a little frustrating about the Enigma Jewel is that it's legendary. So not only can you just not stack up on these and really reduce the cost of activated abilities, like say Walking Ballista in a really impressive way, but it also has this line here where it enters the battlefield tapped. So it's not even immediate mana for activated abilities. It's slower acceleration for those activated abilities. So in brewing this deck list, I knew that I wanted a deck that cared about activated abilities. And I knew that I wanted a deck that could put some cards into graveyard. That way I realistically could actually potentially craft if we ever just really flood out in a game. And that led me to kind of the Painter and 8-cast shell here. And this is what I came up with. So my level 1 thought with building around the Enigma Jewel was, I'm going to use this like Painter sometimes uses Lion's Eye Diamond to activate the Grindstone itself. And the Enigma Jewel can also be used to activate the Urza's Saga. So like if you do something like, play a Lotus Petal, Enigma Jewel, Urza Saga on turn 1, you can just keep pumping out the Urza Saga tokens from there and still use your mana to develop in other ways. That was the primary way that I was seeking to use the Enigma Jewel. But I knew that I would need more in my deck than just that to make it reasonable. So I started thinking, hey, what other things have activated abilities that I can mess around with? And the channel lands came to mind, and the deck kind of started to build itself from there. One of the things, this is interesting art. One of the things that I talked about with the Enigma Jewel is that I would want to put cards into graveyard that I could reasonably craft. And Emery was my way in blue to reasonably do that. So then I started going into a pseudo 8-cast shell, but the format is Bowmasters, the format right now, right? Bowmasters is 40% of the format and has been for a very long time. And I didn't necessarily just want to be playing Thoughtcasts and Thought Monitors, even though that's something that's quite good, air quotes good with the Enigma Jewel, in that the Enigma Jewel is an artifact for them. I wanted card advantage that was not traditional card draw. And there's my pal Akal Pakal again coming in clutch. I have really been impressed by this card. It has overperformed in all of the leagues that I've played it. Also, I think this is a lady. Someone in one of my previous YouTube comments said that this was the sister of the other card that has Pakal in its name that I have definitely forgotten because I'm not a lore person. So my bad on that one. This is like totally like Roman Emperor Princeps vibes. And that's what I thought it was going for. From here, I actually made sort of a late end deck building revelation. So I was taking this kind of painter and 8-cast shell, and once you have added a whole bunch of extra colorless cards, because I'm doing both painter and grindstone and patchwork automaton, and I'll talk about this more in a second. But once I have gone this far down the colorless route, I didn't actually think it made sense to play Force of Will anymore. We're in a relatively mid-rangey format right now. There's lots of blue bean decks, there's lots of blue tempo decks, and I think a lot of times Force of Will is going to get boarded out anyway. So this might be the league where I just get punked on by combo all day. Hopefully not, but I think it's okay to hedge game one. And then I can bring in the Force of Wills when I can also bring in like the Force of Negations and maybe even the Brazen Borrowers just for the blue count beyond that. And to kind of fill out some slots, I have like some Pithing Needles. I have both a Tormod's Crypt and a Soul Guide Lantern in the main deck in kind of respect of the grief decks that are running around right now. And for the air quotes Metalcraft count here, Enigma Jewel can also contribute to casting Kappa Cannoneer. And this is kind of what I settled on. I do want to briefly talk about a couple of things that did not make the final cut, but that were in my initial drafts. Card number 1 is Urza Lord High Artificer. Before I decided on Patchwork Automaton, this was sort of my alternative finisher for the deck list, with the idea being that the Enigma Jewel could go and both be a mana rock with Urza, with the ability to add blue mana, and have the ability to make Urza's activated ability more reasonable. I ultimately drifted away from this because I was slightly worried about the blue in the costs and just like the higher overall mana footprint of the deck. I'm on something like 16 or 17 lands here, so I went against this one. I considered doing like a blue-white build of some kind with some of the elements from the Bomberman combo, but the fact that the Enigma Jewel specifically produces colorless mana and not colored mana kind of steered me away from that. And the final thing that I was thinking about was card advantage that got around Orcish Bowmasters, as I was like thinking about taking out Thought Monitors and friends, and that's forging the Anchor. I did some math on this, and it was frequently going to be a draw to 90% of the time, and better than that a little bit beyond. And I ultimately decided that like if I'm playing Akal Pakal anyway, I don't think I need this in addition to that. So yeah, we'll see how this whole thing goes. We'll see whether or not we actually ever craft this. I imagine that just the ability to funnel mana into Urza's Saga while still developing the rest of your board will make the card at least passable. Maybe not good, but passable. And if you find you need some copies of the Enigma Jewel or maybe some cards from Outlaws at Thunder Junction, please consider checking out toamagic.com. That is talesofadventure.com. They support me and a bunch of other content creators, and that's reason enough to support them, but they also have an absolutely absurd amount of high-end Eternal staples. You want Power 9, they've got them. You want dual lands, they got them. If you're tired of getting envelopes from a billion different places, just order from them. They've got just about everything in stock. And don't forget to use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit while you do that. With that being said, let's battle. My initial opening hand just has no mana here. It's an auto mulligan. Opponent's a fan of the channel. I'm keeping this hand. I think the Kappa Cannoneer is just gonna be a little hard to cast. I'm not sure when I'm playing this Lotus Petal. That's my biggest question about the current hand. Ooh, maybe some madness, some hollow one. I am correct. So it is Poxwalker's O'Clock. My opponent puts 4 power into play on turn 1. Never mind. Oh, fuck me. No. I'm so dead. Holy shit. All right, is there any line that goldfishes me to a kill before I die to this? This is 4, 8, 11, minimum 12 damage next turn. It's actually 14 if another thing is played. I can't get to Painter combo before this kills me. Yeah. Yeah, no. Absolutely not. Tormod's Crypt in. Dismember in. A Haywire Might is an okay way to deal with Hollowed One. I think Meadle seems kind of medium. It technically has targets, but I don't think it's better than other things that I am bringing in. What's the weak link here? Kappa Cannoneer's slow. I think I want my combo finish. Like, I think I plan on winning with either combo or Patchwork rather than Kappa. Let's go Kappa's out and maybe trim one Enigma Jewel. It's got Enigma Jewel plus Urza Saga. That's okay. I have 2 immediate redraws. I'm just not really sure that this is good. I think I'm going to mulligan it. This is a much stronger hand. So it goes Patchwork on turn 1 into Patchwork on turn 2 plus Bauble. Scale both of these. I am keeping this. Probably just getting rid of the Might. My opponent said, can't wait to see what you're on, and then effectively turn 1'd me. Rough. So I imagine this is going to be some sort of looting card. I am correct. Ancient Grudge. Seems good. There's a Poxwalkers in there for the future as well. Okay. This is quite good here. I play Patchwork. That starts scaling up Patchwork number 1. I play Bauble. That scales up both. I play Bauble. That scales up both. We'll go ahead and I think just sack both of these. Future Damp is not the best dismember target. Sure. Send them. Actually, I guess if I'm not drawing towards Force of Will... No, I guess like there could be Bowmasters in there. This is fine. That's great. My opponent says that thing has ward, huh? Yeah, okay. So my opponent turn 1'd me. I turn 2'd them. We will see whether or not we play Magic next game. Alright, so I can turn 1 Patchwork Automaton. Turn 2 Akal Pakal plus Bauble. Take a redraw. Start looking for Painter to work towards a kill. This seems fine. This is a big booty creature, so it blocks like lizards and such pretty well. Actually, I guess if I play Seat on turn 2, this already triggers this, so I guess I can Bauble on turn 1. My opponent did keep on 5. Let's see how crazy this gets. All right. The only card I actively need from this hand is this Ancient Tomb. Fantastic. So there's a Vengevine in yard. Hopefully my opponent doesn't like hollow one and then go. Okay. Please, no hollow one? Oh, ho, ho. Fantastic. Draw step stop? Am I going to get surgicaled? I am not. Yeah, I think we're always starting here. We'll go Yah, scale up. What are we looking at over here? A land, that's fine. Finding like a Tormod's Crypt style card would be really cool. Even just like a Lotus Petal is pretty good. That second land drop, this is a 3-power attacker, which is like relevant when I have Ancient Tomb. But I can wall this as soon as I play this creature. And if the best my opponent is doing is just attacking me for 3 instead of putting like 16 power in play on turn 1, like things are going well for me. Ainer. Game got very complicated very quickly. Specifically what I'm thinking about is green card plus Force of Vigor in my opponent's hand. And then like playing out Painter and Grindstone at the same time would be pretty awkward. It just kills next turn. It just kills next turn. I'm gonna Painter. Everything does not need to be blue. What weird thing can I play around? I can play around Veil of Summer, maybe? Don't choose blue or black. I think everything is just white. I kind of want to just like play the Enigma Jewel this turn. Next turn is play Grindstone, activate Grindstone, still have one floating. I can play a second Grindstone if I really need to. Yeah, let's do that. I maybe take 3 from the Lizard for not doing this. It seems fine. Alright, so now my opponent has access to black mana. Alright, they're going to Ancient Grudge the Automaton. That's fine. They potentially could have attacked first. I don't know how they kind of feel about that. Play Grindstone. Seems like my opponent does not have it. Activate Grindstone. I have successfully milled them out. I will play some more cards in case I miss something. Play a bauble. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and look at the top card of your library. I don't see anything. Alright, my opponent Ancient Grudges my Painter, which returns 2 Poxwalkers to play, but it is not enough. Opponent has wished us luck, and I give him the GGs. Enigma Jewel has been used to activate a permanent. League is a success.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists. And they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out.
Okay, taking a look at this opening hand, I think this is a close but no cigar scenario. Like, we can play a Painter on turn 1 with 2 redraws plus 1 draw step, but this hand's very bad if I miss out on blue mana, and I also just need mana of any kind to be able to, like, Grindstone or something. I think I'm just going to try to find a safer hand. Sure. This one needs a little help, but it has like Grindstone plus Painter, so, or at least it does right now. We could get griefed. Not immediately. Ancient Tomb would be sweet. My opponent does take a shuffle off of that. I am getting griefed. My opponent pitched in Tomb, which maybe means that they don't immediately have Reanimate. I do have a Soul Guide Lantern, so if they don't take Soul Guide Lantern, I just play Soul Guide Lantern, remove their grief. And then I can have this sit here all game. I imagine that I lose this card. And I am correct. So I can try to Goldfish my opponent as quickly as possible with the combo, or I can play this in like a more reasonable construct-based game. I think I'm going to bobble my opponent and see what their top card is and use that to inform my decision. Alright, it's just a land. I think I'm not going to go turbo here. I think going turbo here too frequently has me just dying to a single piece of counter magic. I'm not really expecting much spot removal from my opponent, but there'll be counter magic over there for sure. Brainstorm's fine. That's the land that we knew about. Oh, we got green mana. All right, there is the Reanimate. So if my opponent just like takes my Painter, I just play Emery. And I think there's a Shadow Spear in my deck. Yeah, so my opponent kind of has to take the Emery. This is like almost good here. If I play the Enigma Jewel this turn, it enters tapped. So if I play the Enigma Jewel and Urza Saga this turn, then I can just like play Painter next turn and Goldfish the following turn. I think this is like actively better than just playing Painter, which is weird to me. All right, we're in play. Wasteland very good against Urza Saga currently. So this is actually the first damage that I'm taking this game. Ancient Tomb now probably my best draw. We'll take it. I will Painter. We just want to pick a color that's in no way beneficial for my opponent, so I think everything is just white. I don't want to pick anything in their colors because pitch cards like Grief, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Force of Vigor if they're super spicy, all matter. Sure. I don't actually care about my Painter. Like, my Painter is not good right now. No, my Akal Pakal was very good. My opponent has now answered, what, like 1, 2, 3, oh, that's not good yet. I need 2 more mana sources, or rather 2 more artifacts of any kind. So this will be 11. Is that it? It seems like there's a castable card and my opponent is debating whether or not they would like to cast it. What would that be? Could be a Thoughtseize. Could be a Grief that they could evoke. Witherbloom command. Just draining me. Sure. That is a very relevant difference. That Wasteland coming back is very strong. Sure. Well, there's a Grindstone. I can top deck my way out of this. Play Painter. Following turn, I activate even through a Wasteland. I'm at 6. Oh my god. Yeah. That's rough. I'll play it. I don't know what my outs are anymore, though. Don't have a game 1 Dismember. Couldn't cast it anyway. Yeah, that will do it. I don't think I needed much more time. I needed 2 more draws to find the Painter Servant, although I couldn't have cast it anyway. All right, so what are we doing here? Probably removal, probably Graveyard Hate. My opponent is presumably still going to be doing something like Beans. That's like Beans plus Witherbloom Apprentice is probably the reason to be in the Sultai colors. Let's go Pithing Needle out. Witherbloom Command can eat some of these smaller things like Enigma Jewel and Grindstone. So can, like Abrupt Decay's Assassin's Trophies. I conceptually think that my cards are pretty reasonable. Enigma Jewel is probably very bad here. They have Wasteland for Urza Saga and the ability to recur Wasteland, and the ability to destroy Grindstones relatively easily. So, like, that's the whole... That combination of things is why Enigma Jewel is in the deck, so, like, it probably goes out for this round, giving me these 4 cards. I could Pithing Needle Wasteland. Does that make sense? Maybe. Maybe not for the game that I'm on the play. Island, Bobble Bobble, Mox Opal, 2 mana, Painter Servant, double immediate redraw is, I think, reasonable, but unexciting. Actually, I do more than that. Because, like, I'll just play out everything, and then Grief doesn't do anything, and I will bobble on their turn. I don't need to worry about turn 1 Bowmasters. Everything can be white again, and I'll pass turn. Opponent says that's one way to play around Grief. So the hope is now that I play like Emery or Akal Pakal or Kappa Cannoneer or something with my next turn. All right, so what are you drawing next turn? You're drawing a Verdant Catacombs. What am I drawing? Shadow Spear. There's the Spear. There's a Painter. All right, there's a Akal Pakal. That is exactly what I want. Although I don't get to trigger her this turn. Yeah. This is not a Daze land. We're in play. Seems good. I am in trouble if this Painter dies and this Mox Opal isn't live anymore. I can't immediately play the next one. So let's see what this leads into. I don't care about something like Bowmaster. Witherbloom Command's pretty good. Beans are pretty good. All right, so my opponent's going to take out my Opal, unfortunately. Oh, and they found Wasteland. Note here that, like, with the way priority works, I don't get to take that Wasteland. That is a great draw that I cannot cast. So a lot of this is just going to become how quickly can my opponent find something like a Murktide Regent. I think I just sit with the Tormod's Crypt in play for right now. Like, I do just have to respect reanimate on creatures as a thing. My opponent does not have blue yet with the lands that they have showed me. Sure. Heyo. Which one do I play? I think I just play a Painter. I think I would prefer to play this card on a turn where I can immediately trigger it. Still no blue. Daggers. Yup. Lotus Petals, kind of mid here. So we'll Painter. Everything is very white. I think it is fine to just equip Painter, create a 2/4 lifelinker, and attack through the Grief. Reasonable. If my opponent plays a fetch land, I really have to think about firing off Tormod's Crypt in response. to a fetch so that my opponent can't Murktide. I'm probably just going to get wastelanded off this Ancient Tomb this turn. At some point, I can start thinking about just Tormod's Crypting to take my opponent off of Murderous Cut. I don't think we're there yet. Knew that was coming. Oh, God. At least the Brazen Borrower isn't castable yet. Well, this is great. Let's see if it resolves. Force Pitching Brainstorm. Got it. Let's send in a like block plus Bowmaster Ping could kill my creature. Yep. I accept this. This is maybe the point where I go ahead and just use the Tormod's Crypt. My opponent can't Murderous Cut right now. They don't have blue for Murktide Regent. They could naturally draw like another Tropical Island and Murktide me or something. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this.
I guess another way that I could have thought about Enigma Jewel is using it for equip
for actual like swords and stuff. Like a Jitte could be a reasonable inclusion in this deck list. How much fear do we have? I think no fear. I think I am losing this game as this game goes long. So let's crash in. Alright, good. Opponent still does not have blue for Brazen Borrower. It is a troll. Reanimate for troll is technically still live. Going to 2 is a little spooky. Yeah. These wastelands are so good. Yep. I still think I am just attacking. I think it is worth risking the creature in combat. I think that more often than not, I kill with combat damage instead of with the artifact combo. I've already drawn 2 of my 4 Ancient Tombs, so I'm pretty unlikely to just top deck a single land that gets me to the Grindstone activation. Yep. And I'm also under the gun. Like, I am taking 5 points of damage a turn, and I'm only healing 2 back. Like, I am winning that race, but it does not take a lot to spin this. Also, I just noticed how much clock my opponent has used in comparison to my own. My opponent has left an Orc army back, which maybe makes me think they have another Bowmaster, because Bowmaster King plus block gets rid of this. I think I take an attack step off and just play this out. And then this effectively stops this attack. Okay, yeah, we read that. It's fine, I can bounce the Orc army. Are my Enigma Jewels in the deck right now? No. I actively want it right now, humorously. Good God, again. Alright, I'm just taking the 3. That's not so bad. That's not great. I think I attack. If my opponent kind of throws everything in front of it, I Spellbomb, bounce the token, kill both Bowmasters. Send it. Okay. My opponent's at 4, I'll pass the turn. I don't need to play out another Grindstone. Collector Oof is rough. That disables the primary way I had of winning the game. I probably just get rid of this right now. And I have to hope that I can kill my opponent with Painter Servant. Ogak. Sure. That seems good. So they wasteland themselves. Oof into Hogak was a potent combo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm just short here. My opponent's pile of wastelands got them there. And we lose this one. GG's. Okay. Otawara, then Grindstone, then Tormod's Crypt, then Mox Opal, then Pithing Needle something. I will have 5 things in play that contribute to Kappa Cannoneer, and can probably play a turn 2 Kappa Cannoneer. A little weird, but I think I'm in. Rawr. My opponent reanimates on turn 1, and I lose like the Tormod's Crypt and my Mox Opal. I'm in terrible shape. Note that this is why I have 2 pieces of main deck Graveyard Hate, is to hedge against this style of deck, which is very good right now. I play the Opal. I play the Otawara. Now, I can't Emery. Which one of these do I put into play? I think Pithing Needle. It's possible that I should name Troll of Khazad-dûm here. But did my opponent play Underground Sea before or after Grief? After? If they had Wasteland, I would have gotten Wastelanded, so they don't have Wasteland right now. I maybe still just name Wasteland. I don't know, I just like lose to the troll if my opponent like plays it and then reanimates it. All right. It's Entomb instead. All right. That's real bad. Get rid of the Kappa. I draw a Spellbomb. Watery Grave. You a Shadow hybrid deck? Am I dead? So I play Grindstone. Mox Opal is on. Can't really Painter and activate before Archon kills me. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, if my opponent is like a hybrid Shadow deck list, we got some things to think about. I think I'm into additional Graveyard Hate. I think I'm into a couple Brazen Borrowers to bounce creatures out of play, be they Death Shadows or large monsters. Dismember is probably okay. Kappa Cannoneer probably frequently kills my opponent in one hit. What if I don't Painter and Grindstone for this specific matchup? Did I just focus on the things that deal damage to my opponent or give me card advantage? That can give me these 4 +2 Dismember for, you know, Douthies or whatever. That's like, okay. Not excited about Haywire Might. Guys to Bowmaster. Not really excited about counterspells. I think I'm just going to play 2 Grindstones as pseudo mana rocks. All right, Painter is not in my deck. Yeah, this hand's solid. I think I'm going to lead like this. You can make an argument that leading on Pithing Needle Urza Saga is better. But like this has ward, it scales. For Grief and Bowmaster purposes, I potentially wait. Or rather for Grief. I don't care about Bowmaster yet, unless my opponent is also a Dark Ritual deck, which I'm not expecting them to be. That's fine. We are getting the second main phase Grief now. And I lose Emery. See what you're drawing. The top of their library is random from the Ponder. A Force of Will. All right, got it. Those cards are almost good. Like, if I had blue mana, I would be perfectly happy with all of this stuff. But I don't have blue mana. Patchwork Automaton is hard to answer. My Urza Saga should go the distance here, unless we get weird with something like Hercules. And Urza Saga can get me to blue mana to continue to play cool cards. Okay, cool. No immediate follow-up there. Mox Opal is a great draw. All right, my opponent just concedes. I am happy with how I've boarded. We don't have a lot of agency versus my opponent's like absolute best top-end hands, but we have some great options versus everything else. That's fine. Cool. How do I sequence this turn? How many cards can I play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towards Kappa Cannoneer this turn. So I can Kappa Cannoneer on turn 2 pretty easily. Once Mox Opal is online, I can put the Enigma Jewel in play. That one enters tapped. Okay. I think I do this one. So we're going to play a bunch of spells. All my 0 drops resolve. I will Enigma Jewel and Soul Guide Lantern. We have 2 layers of protection versus the reanimate type stuff. I'm fine against Null Rod. Yeah, like I will just kill my opponent with artifacts in one capacity or another. So this ticks up. Like I will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will get 1 6/6 artifact creature and then play a Kappa Cannoneer that follows it up. If my opponent can like reanimate now, it's a little rough. Like they probably win. Sure. But my construct token will be a 3-turn clock. Oh. If I must. I lose both. Yeah, hit you. You're at 12. Any blue land gets me to Kappa Cannoneer. Yeah. I do not mind mana being spent on not killing construct token. Alright, so they can get rid of 1 bad card from Brainstorm. Oh, and Atraxa. That's not bad. Okay. So I'll hit. This scales up this creature. Force of Will, sure. So I beat Reanimate. I don't beat Animate Dead. All right. So now it has to be land plus Animate Dead. That's a shuffle. Suck it, Null Rod! Okay, I probably keep this hand. Island, Enigma Jewel, into Urza Saga, Patchwork Automaton is like perfectly reasonable. My opponent is a Yorion deck of some kind. There's not much of anything Yorion going on in Legacy right now. It's probably most likely that they're an Up the Beanstalk deck, but could be wrong. Enigma Jewel is somewhat likely to eat a Prismatic Ending type card from my opponent. Ending? Itching Stone March? Holy shit, that's aggressive. Honestly, I don't blame my opponent. Something that I say a lot is if you don't understand why a card is in your opponent's deck, it is a problem and it is scary. So I guess good on them. So we'll Patchwork Automaton. It's not a particularly good Patchwork Automaton because I do want to be activating Urza Saga, I think. Sure. What the fuck is this? Create a 1/1 critter token. Core creature has +1/+1. Destroy target artifact enchantment. Okay. Sure. I could bounce a Stoneforge out of play. I think I'm not gonna do that. Because if my opponent stealth has Cauldron in hand already, I can just I have multiple different ways to bounce a germ token. Field of Ruin, okay. We're in brew territory here. Field of Ruin, the Urza Saga. Sure, I'll make a construct in response. I believe I have more basic lands. Yeah, I have 3 islands, which seems like it was a good choice. I'm just going to play this as a land. I think I am down with this. I don't think I show my opponent the Spell Bomb yet. I'll show them the Shadow Spear. And I am still attacking for 5 and drawing a card here, which is a pretty powerful position. End of turn Brainstorm. This is probably just for mana efficiency. If it's for something like a Terminus, that's a little rough, but I'll still have another Akal Pakal plus artifact to trigger her. I think I'll take the Emery. The Painter goes to graveyard. I can use the Emery to get the Painter. All right, not in draw step. No nonsense there. Supreme Verdict could happen. This guaranteed triggers this, scales up these creatures. So let's go Yaw. What do I equip Shadow Spear to? Probably this. Make the ward more annoying than it already is. Send in with both. Sure, this is not unexpected. That is also not unexpected. I think I am fine just bouncing the germ out of play here. It's my opponent for 8 instead of 9. Oh, maybe it doesn't. So we're Esper, so we've got Bowmasters in deck, presumably. Sure. My opponent's at 6. I'll do a post-combat Emery. Pithing Needle's good. Land drop into Batterskull equip can gain my opponent some life and keep them alive, right? That would put them to 11. I play Spellbomb, bounce. I swing in for 8. Yeah, that keeps them alive. That's fine. So this counters my 0 drops like this Bobble. So let's Emery. I think just target the Spellbomb. Cast the Spellbomb. You've got Force of Will and Hull Breacher. Sure. That turns Patchwork Automaton into a lethal thing that has to be blocked or otherwise removed. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to move Shadow Spear right here and cast this, and then I have 2 lethal threats. I don't know, I guess this tramples right now. I don't think I need to be in a hurry here. Unless this last random card is the Citizen's Crowbar. I knew that. Okay, so this is fine. My opponent takes 3 damage. Goes to 2. I play Akal Pakal, which will trigger. I can Bobble. I guess I'll see what you're drawing. It's a Vial. That is not a good magic card anymore. I will put a Patchwork into my hand. And I get a Kappa Cannoneer. Now I'm even good versus a board wipe. So my opponent is essentially playing Yorion Esper Vial. I think my opponent lost this one when they searched up Citizen's Crowbar. Like, if I assume that Caldra is in their deck, like if they have both access to both Caldra and Batterskull, I think this game's a lot harder. I probably still end up winning it. Like, I've got access to Pithing Needle and Spellbomb and stuff, but like, this was a 1/1 that cost them 4 mana. Haywire Might is great. It's a way to exile Caldra. Dismember is probably pretty reasonable. Something like Brazen Borrower is a catch-all that I can play to get opposing creatures and germ tokens and stuff out of the way. So I probably want to board 5 cards. I haven't seen a ton of my opponent's deck. Like, I know they have Aether Vial. Aether Vial means that, like, Terminus and Supreme Verdict type cards are less likely to be seen. How much do I value the combo? Kind of whatever. I maybe just do something like this and plan on aggroing my opponent out. My opponent has like March of Otherworldly Light, so I don't know that I super want to rely on the A plus B combo. I think I'd rather like rely on these ward creatures and these things that generate card advantage. Plus, they won't know. Actually, is my Pithing Needle good? No, my Pithing Needle's good. Stoneforge package. I guess I could also think about Hercules to bounce stuff, but I think if I'm bringing in Dismember and Borrower, that's enough. This is just not enough mana. I don't think I'm willing to keep the just Emery Go hand with no land. This hand's insane. If I had blue mana, the Enigma Jewel is nuts here. It just allows me to just crap out stuff with Urza Saga. I might still be keeping this because of the upside of drawing a blue source to be able to put this into play. This is an incredible card in the matchup, though. All right. Like, if I draw a blue source, I can just Akal Pakal. Hey. All right. So, yeah. Next turn, I do this land plus Akal Pakal, so that means that I can go ahead and do this now. I will just do this, even though you're probably just going to fetch. Field of Ruin. Got it. Yep, and there's some chance that my opponent has, like, a Surveil land here. Nope. I just want to get this under a Bowmaster. That's not really what I'm looking for. Ward is good. An attack into Bowmaster, if this just remains a 2/2, is a little awkward. Hey, I don't have to think about it anymore. So we'll Opal. Now I can safely attack for 3. 16. And then we'll play something that probably demands an immediate answer. All right, do you have the swords? No. These are both very good. These are both very, very, very good. I think I'm just going to take the Dismember. I think this is my insurance versus like a Stoneforge Mystic. Sure. So we now know opponent has Underground Sea. Dismember is such good insurance. Yeah, you got it. I've got another one. Yes. That makes my Emery's worse. It's not like it has no text, but it is not doing anything this game. Sure, I'm not casting any artifacts, so I'll just attack for my 3. Yeah. 13. Play Saga. And then Akal Pakal. I think I can just do this off of this and save the life some percentage of the time. I did not get to trigger this turn. I don't know that that super matters here. Urza Saga activate. Urza Saga activate is in my future. All right. Yeah, you got it. Seems good. This is also something that can just like safely attack into a Bowmaster. Whatever. Attempt 4 damage. Opponent's at 9. I'll drop an Urza Saga. Oh, do you have another one? I guess they have to have something over there, right? I will straight up play this as a 1-power attacker. Like, that doesn't bother me. All right, so I have access to 1 fewer Brazen Borrower here. Spell Seeker. So this probably finds an Ephemerate. I don't think I fire off Dismember immediately in case they already have Ephemerate. All right, they're going to find a Swords. I haven't done a good job at drawing artifacts, huh? Send it on in there. That's fine. Sure. I'll pass turn here with the intention of playing an end of my opponent's turn Brazen Borrower. Or I would also play it in response to just Swords to Plowshares on Patchwork Automaton after the ward trigger. All right, take 2. Cast Brazen Borrower. This represents 5 of my opponent's 7 life. We've still got this Dismember hanging out for something like a Stoneforge Mystic or a Batter Skull or whatever. That's not super relevant right now. End it. Alright, my opponent goes to 2. The best thing about the Enigma Jewel here is that it is going to re-enable my Metalcraft and give me a trigger here. Otawara or Pithing Needle? I think Otawara. So my opponent needs to answer 2 of my creatures in some capacity. Sure. Okay, Caracas helps my opponent a lot. That's incredibly good. Is this worth returning to my hand right now? Feels like it. Not often that I save my own stuff here. My opponent bounces one of my things. I can just take this Spellseeker out of play, attack for 1, then the fetch land isn't live anymore. I think I'm okay with that. Alright, fantastic. Another Otawara. Send it. My Enigma Jewel is tapped, right? I couldn't use that for Otawara. I believe that's correct. Stoneforge resolves. Finds Batter Skull. My opponent's last card that I don't know needs to be an answer to this Brazen Borrower. Or they are dead. They are dead. GG. Alright, final round here. I think we've already got a positive record. I'm just a mana source away from that being good. Otawara, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Enigma Jewel. Mox Opal is turned on. I'm gonna keep this hand. Alternatively, I go like Otawara, Lotus Petal, Patchwork, Opal, and go from there. I'm thinking about whether or not I'm throwing Kappa Canary or Grindstone back. I think I'm throwing Grindstone back. Yeah. Yeah. If I Enigma Jewel, then Mox Opal, then I can Patchwork. Or I just Patchwork now, then Mox Opal. I don't Enigma Jewel this turn. So I want... This is 1, 2, 3 towards Kappa. I'm not getting to Kappa immediately anyway. So let's just Patchwork. Opal. And call it a turn. Okay, cool. So what does Island Ponder mean in this specific metagame? Could be a lot of things. Ancient Tomb get me there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ancient Tomb does not get me there. It gets me there next turn, though. Bam. 3. 17. So then I've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's very good. If I do this, I wonder if my opponent's something weird like High Tide or Shark Still or something. Yeah. Could get like actual factual counterspelled here. Nope. My opponent might die. Okay, they're show and tell probably. I actually haven't seen Impulse in show and tell in a long time. Maybe my High Tide idea is still right. Not instant speed High Tide. They did Ponder. There's a lot of basic. Okay, no, it is show and tell. Am I dead? I am dead. Am I dead? 1, 2. Oh fuck. Yeah. Okay, I'm dead. There was a moment of concern in the middle. Yeah. So if I draw, yeah, I only would have been able to attack for 10. Okay. All right. So we know what my opponent's doing. They are showing and telling, which means for the first time this league, I actually want my counterspells. They have remained in the sideboard the entire time. The Tormod's Crypt and the Soul Guide Lantern aren't very good. I'm going to put this in the pile of things to consider. If my opponent's mono blue, Pithing Needle's not good. Shadow Spear is probably unnecessary. I'm going to keep the Enigma Jewel and all of my blue cards for my blue card count. Painter Servant Grindstone is one of the ways that I can keep up with my opponent pace-wise. But Painter Servant and Grindstone are not blue cards that pitch to Force of Will effects, which I think matter a lot here. So what I actually might do is something that looks a little weird. I might just keep Tormod's Crypts as 0-cost artifacts that trigger Akal Pakal, Patchwork Automaton, and work towards Mox Opal Metalcraft. And casting Emery early. Okay, that's a little weird, but it feels right. Seat. Opal. Lotus Petal. Opal is on. Turn 1 Akal Pakal with Force of Negation backup for my opponent's turn. This is perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Let's see if this resolves. I can't fight over it on my own turn. Fantastic. Emery? I think Emery over Kappa. Kappa is something great to put in off a show and tell, but I don't really want to let my opponent resolve a show and tell right now. Cool. Can't trigger Akal Pakal this turn. 19. I can, in theory, trigger it every turn for the rest of the game. I think Ottawara stays in my hand. And I do this. Aether Spellbomb and Lotus Petal are good things to pick up. Brainstorm's fine. I don't have a fast enough clock right now. Alright. Attempt this. Uh-oh. Let's see how bad it is. I'm not going to put in the Ottawara. I'm going to potentially use that to bounce something. Cool. Land drop. I would like to bounce the Emrakul, which only costs 2 because I do have multiple legendary creatures. Now, go ahead and get an Aether Spellbomb. I'm going to cast that. That's my safety net for the future. I'll attack for 1. Re-trigger this. Pick up... I don't need Brazen Borrower with Spellbomb already in play. I'm going to pick up Seat. That guaranteed does this next turn, or in a future if Emery somehow gets answered. Not that I exactly know what would answer Emery, but, you know, just in case. Kappa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, tap this 6, or I'll actually leave up Island. So there's a big friend. Go to combat, bash for 1, 14, Patchwork. I have 5, 7-ish damage, 2-ish turn clock. Cool. Yaw. Yaw. Scale up. Emery. Target a Lotus Petal. Cast. Scale up Automaton. Followed by Kappa. The dream here is to now hit a counterspell off Akal Pakal. Bobble is not counterspell. Alright, cool. I think my opponent prematurely show and telled. Like, even if I don't have the Ottawara, I just have the Spellbomb in my graveyard, right? So, like, that already on board answers. I think I am happy with not having Painter in my deck right now. I don't think I'm happy with this hand. It feels like this hand, like, maybe doesn't lose, but I don't think it wins. Whereas this one probably has a very real chance of winning by just playing Patchwork into Patchwork. Is Urza Saga or Seat better here? Unsure. Let's keep an Urza Saga. That's fine. We found another Urza Saga. So we go Yaw, Yaw, immediate Patchwork Automaton, and then I'll play the Bobble on turn 2 to scale up both Patchworks. Since I don't have a blue card already, it's not like I am just immediately drawing towards Force of Will being good. Ooh, okay. We are on the beatdown plan. My counterspells are no longer live. So it's just how fast can my opponent assemble it? You know, if they already have it, they already have it. Do this, scale up both. I will cycle through. There's a land drop. All right. My opponent is at 16, taking some amount of damage per turn cycle. It may even be a 2-turn clock. I don't think I can ever take them down from 16 next turn, but 2 turns is probably reasonable. Shit. Okay. Oh, that's not as bad as it could have been. When does this trigger? It's each combat, right? Yeah. I will know whether or not it is a giant creature before it happens. So how do I win the highest percentage of the time? I need to not die to Vesuvian Drifter on my next turn. After that, I can just Urza Saga for Spellbomb. If I play a land drop, I have 5 permanents. If I activate Urza Saga, I have 6 permanents. If I cast Akal Pakal, I have 6 permanents. Cast Kappa Cannoneer, I have 6 permanents. So I guess I'm going to effectively die to an Emrakul. Ponder did not shuffle. It's very possible that Vesuvian Drifter has a valid target. I set up Brazen Borrower, not this turn. And Akal Pakal and trigger. Rough. Everything just like doesn't quite work out well. Let's see what happens here. Nothing. I am going to go ahead and attack for 3. This attack is free. Yeah, my opponent takes it, protecting their Vesuvian Drifter. And we see if I'm dead. Yep. Yeah, that's a shame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if I make a token, that's still 6. 6 gets rid of all of this. And the Vesuvian Drifter body is still left around as a 2-power creature that 3-turn clocks me, so I don't think I come back. That's rough. For what it's worth, that's one of the first times that I have actually lost to a Vesuvian Drifter. That card has... Holy shit. Do this. I hit my opponent for 6. Yeah, my opponent should not have done that. If I have artifact land, castable artifact, my opponent dies here. Or no, that's 8, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I don't know that that was worth it. We fall just a little short there. GG's. All right, so let's take one final look at the deck and see how we feel here. The Enigma Jewel was not a do-nothing card throughout this league, and there were a couple of times where I actively was hoping to draw it. I had things to do with my mana other than attempt to craft this league, but that was fully expected. The ability to kind of tap for Urza's Saga while still allowing us to develop was reasonable. I don't know that it is actually worth a card. Like, I don't know that it is worth a slot in a legacy deck, but maybe there's some deck building lessons here that you can apply to another format. Oddly, it felt like the Painter Servant Grindstone portion was the weakest portion of the deck, and that like the aggro and card advantage portion was really good. I wonder if we can do some like Sir Ginger or other aggressive like 2-drop creature in some of these slots and like have a reasonable deck list if we change Enigma Jewel for something else that produces some mana, maybe an extra land. Like, I don't think an 18th land is crazy, or like scale up the number of baubles the deck is playing. Although I guess if you start scaling up the number of baubles the deck is playing, you start running into Bowmasters, which was something that I intentionally built the deck to avoid. Feel pretty confident that this card is probably underplayed in Legacy. This card has just continuously impressed me in every league that I have played it in. Now, admittedly, there was one game towards the end there where like Akal Pakal just didn't trigger for a few turns, but the card advantage with selection is really strong, and the synergy with the artifact lands, so you don't even necessarily have to cast a spell and have it resolve, is really good. Do I give this deck list a thumbs up? I don't know. I'm happy with the results. Deck felt good. I was competitive in my rounds. I feel like I made a lot of good deck building decisions, like the Force of Wills in the sideboard felt like a very good decision with how this deck was put together. Graveyard Hate in the main deck felt good. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I give this one a shaky sideways thumbs up, where I think there is some real amount of potential here that needs some iteration and tuning and a larger sample size of games. But generally speaking, I like what I have access to here. And I hope you all enjoyed watching. If you find you need any of these Magic cards, please consider checking out toamagic.com. That's Tales of Adventure. You want everything, all your cards in one envelope from one place, even your high-end stuff. They've got it all. Use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya!